Hey guys, Bobby here, and if you have grown your photo or video business to a point where you're getting asked to travel for weddings and you have no idea where to begin on pricing them out, then this video is for you. First off, if you're at a point where you're starting to get these inquiries, whether it is just a state or two away, across the country, or on another continent, then congratulations are in order. That is a great accomplishment in your business, and it is an exciting time, no doubt. However, it can be scary to price a booking like this, making sure it is worth your time, while also not wanting to lose the job. And there are a lot of variables at play. So I've got 4 tips for you, as well as some real-world examples to help you navigate your destination wedding pricing. And real quick, if you like this video or you want to see more videos like it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, making sure to also hit the notification bell to be the first to see new posts. Over the years, we have had the opportunity to do destination weddings all over the US, as well as some international work, and I'm not gonna lie, we have learned a lot in the process. We have found things that don't work flat out, things that work well for us but are confusing for our clients, and ultimately what seems to work best for everyone involved. And how we approach it depends on how far away the booking is. So let's jump in with our first tip. And tip number 1 applies to bookings no matter where they are, and that is to present the costs as a whole. Meaning, for a wedding couple, don't break everything down line by line. This might be necessary for commercial projects, but for weddings it's confusing and it opens the door to interpretation and discussion and things that we generally don't want. We've found the experience is better for everyone involved when we have a lump sum travel cost, or even better when it's just all inclusive together with the packages that we offer. Tip number 2 is that it matters who books the travel. The 2 big ones here, of course, are flights and hotel, and we take a different stance on each of these. Barring odd circumstances, we almost never want our clients booking flights on our behalf, and there are a variety of reasons for this. We fly out for weddings a couple days in advance, but often we have other things happening those days as well, and we need to work around them. And of course, we know our schedules better than our client does. Additionally, and more importantly, there are certain flights that we simply don't want to take and certain airlines that we don't want to fly with. From a comfort point, somewhat, but more importantly, flying with gear is its own process, and certain airlines are better to deal with than others. On the flip side, we don't mind having our clients book our hotel stays for us. We actually find it easier in most situations to just have them book us a room wherever their guests will be staying, and it's often no extra work for them to do so. Tip number 3 is knowing how to pack, and this is going to vary greatly depending if you're doing photo, video, or both, as video just inherently has much more gear. Now, I'm not going to go into how we pack things up, but rather touching on the most important thing, which is that only support gear gets checked. Tripods, sliders, light stands, things like that go under the plane no problem, but cameras, lenses, drones, and things of that nature stay at our side at all times. Tip number 4 is maybe the mistake that I see most often, and that is to make sure that you value yourself. I know shooting out of state or even out of country can be exciting, but you're still doing a large amount of work and you're going to be working pretty much that whole time. Sure, you can extend the trip perhaps and enjoy the area a bit, but I always advise people not to do a wedding for free or for cheap just because it's in a cool spot. To add to this, make sure you value your time as well. When you travel for a wedding, you are not just booking the wedding day. You are taking time on either side to travel, being away from family, friends, other work you could be doing, and other potential bookings that you might get. Whether you're driving or flying, you are giving up something extra and you need to be charging for that time. So finally, let's talk about a few real-world examples and how we approach them. First is a wedding that's 3 hours away and we're gonna drive to it. And when it's a driving wedding, it's hard to work off of set prices like we're gonna get into for flying, but we still wanna have our travel costs as one lump sum. So first we're gonna calculate mileage. Let's say it's 200 miles at 56 cents per mile, which is $112, and then we're gonna double that because we're going round trip. We've got hotel accommodations, which as I mentioned before, we're gonna opt to have our client book. And finally, we have our time, which we're gonna bill $50 an hour of travel, which is an additional $300. We also like to round to an even 50 or 100 number for travel costs, so for a wedding like this, we would typically charge $550 plus hotel for 2 nights in addition to our collection options. Next up is a wedding out of state that we're going to fly to, and our best advice for this is to have completely separate pricing that includes your collections as well as out of state travel. We found it much easier to have an average price built into our collections that we can present as an all-inclusive option. I know some areas are far more expensive than others, but typically it all evens out for us in the end, with some weddings coming in a little higher and some a little lower. So when we get contacted for an out-of-state wedding, we have an entirely separate pricing guide, and we just note that all travel is included, and our clients seem to really like this. We have a flat rate of $1,500 built into these collections for any continental US wedding, and that includes things like airfare, baggage, rental car, hotel, our time, and other things. And of course, there are certain scenarios where we may change this rate, maybe some crazy high-end areas of the US or something like Hawaii, but this has worked quite well for us to value ourselves appropriately and keep things as easy as possible for our couples. Also, we're almost always against negotiating on pricing, but we have found that some regional locations, maybe just a state or two away, can be much cheaper for us to travel to. So if it's a booking that we really want, we can adjust our price a bit out of that travel number without really losing anything. Last but not least is international weddings, and for these we take it as a case-by-case basis, but we make sure to still present it to the couple as a lump sum. Now that lump sum of course can be a pretty big number, but you remember you're being asked to travel across the world and live for multiple days. Be sure to think of every expense and research averages for the area that you will be in specifically, and these can include flights, hotel, baggage, food, transportation, etc., and of course your time. Also, shooting internationally can and often does require permits, visas, and sometimes taxes on the gear you're bringing in or out of the country, so make sure to account for those fees and to do it the right way. So there it is, guys, a few tips that we have for pricing and presenting destination wedding options, as well as some real-world examples of how we break it down. I can't stress enough how important it is to think of all the costs associated with a destination wedding, including your time. Destination weddings are an amazing opportunity to expand your market and spark your creativity, so I hope these tips were helpful for you. If you have any questions about this, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And as always, I'd love to have you subscribe for more videos like this in the future.